When I first arrived in the Philippines, I thought I understood what home meant. I grew up in the United States in a quiet neighborhood where houses sat politely apart from each other, where doors were usually closed, and where visiting someone required a text message, a calendar check, and sometimes a polite apology for coming over unannounced. Home, to me, was a private space. Comfortable, yes, but also contained, quiet, and carefully managed. Then I stepped into my first Filipino home. It wasn't big. In fact, by American standards, it was small. The living room flowed directly into the kitchen, the walls were thin, and the furniture didn't match. There was no central air conditioning, no thick carpet, no carefully curated decor. But the moment I walked in, I felt something strange and unexpected wrap around me, something I couldn't explain at first. Warmth, not the kind of warmth that comes from heaters or insulation, not the physical kind. This was different. This warmth felt alive. Before I could even say hello properly, someone handed me food. Not asked. Not offered. Handed. A plate appeared in my hands like it was the most natural thing in the world. Someone smiled at me like they had known me for years. Another person asked if I was tired. Another asked if I had eaten. Someone laughed. Someone called me anak, even though I was clearly not their child. I remember thinking, why does this feel more like home than my own home ever did? As a blonde American woman living and traveling through the Philippines, I've stayed in many houses, homes in cities, provinces, small towns, coastal villages, mountain barangays. Some had concrete floors, some had wooden walls, some had fancy TVs, and some had none at all. But almost all of them shared the same feeling. Filipino homes feel warmer than American homes. And the longer I stayed, the more I realized it had nothing to do with money, space, or design. It had everything to do with people. In America, warmth is often built into the house itself. Insulation, heating systems, fireplaces, thick doors. We engineer comfort. We pay for it. We control it. In the Philippines, warmth comes from something far less technical and far more human. It starts with the door. In many Filipino homes, the door is open. Literally, not all the time, of course, but often enough that it becomes normal. Neighbors pass by. Someone shouts a greeting from outside. Kids run in and out. Dogs wander freely. The boundary between inside and outside is thinner here. Back home, an open door can feel risky. Here, it feels inviting. When I asked a Filipino friend why their door was always open, she laughed and said, "So people can come in." That answer stayed with me. Filipino homes aren't designed to keep people out. They're designed to welcome people in. In American homes, visitors are events. In Filipino homes, visitors are expected. Even planned for in a way that doesn't feel like planning at all. There's always extra rice. Always a bit of ulam set aside. Always a chair pulled closer. Even when there isn't much, there's still sharing. I once apologized for coming over unexpectedly. The mother of the house looked genuinely confused. "Why are you sorry?" she asked. "You're here." That was it, no schedule. No inconvenience. Just presence. Food plays a huge role in this warmth. In the US, food is often personal. You eat when you're hungry. You fix your own plate. You ask before taking. In Filipino homes, food is communal. It belongs to everyone and no one at the same time. You don't ask if someone wants to eat. You assume they do. You don't wait until everything is perfect. You eat together, even if it's simple. Even if it's late. Even if it's noisy. I've eaten meals sitting on plastic chairs, balancing plates on my lap, surrounded by laughter, half-finished conversations, and the sound of someone calling another neighbor to come join. Those meals felt richer than some of the fanciest dinners I had back in the States. And it's not just food. It's attention. In American homes, we value independence, privacy, personal space. Those things aren't that, they're just different. In Filipino homes, attention flows freely. People notice when you're quiet. They ask if you're okay. They sit with you without needing a reason. I remember feeling overwhelmed one afternoon, missing home, missing familiarity. I didn't say anything. I didn't cry. I just sat quietly. A Filipina aunt noticed, sat beside me, and handed me a cup of coffee. She didn't ask questions. She didn't give advice. She just stayed. That kind of warmth doesn't come from words. It comes from presence. Family is another reason Filipino homes feel warmer. And when I say family, I don't mean just parents and kids. I mean cousins, grandparents, neighbors, friends, friends of friends, people who are somehow related by blood or by life or by shared history. In America, family gatherings are often scheduled. Holidays, birthdays, special occasions. In Filipino homes, family's everyday life, someone is always around. Someone is always talking. Someone is always cooking. The house is alive. Noise, which Americans sometimes associate with chaos, feels comforting here. The sound of a TV playing in the background, kids laughing, someone singing off-key, a radio playing old love songs. Silence in Filipino homes is rare, and when it happens, people notice. In my American home growing up, silence meant peace. In Filipino homes, warmth often sounds loud. There's also a deep emotional openness that lives inside Filipino homes. Feelings aren't hidden behind closed doors. Joy is shared loudly. Sadness is shared collectively. Problems become group discussions. Even strangers are invited into emotional spaces. At first, this made me uncomfortable. I wasn't used to being asked personal questions. I wasn't used to people caring so openly. But over time, I realized something important. Warmth grows when people are allowed to be seen. Filipino homes don't just shelter bodies. They hold emotions. I've been in homes where money was tight, where walls needed repair, where space was limited. But I've rarely felt unwelcome. Rarely felt like a burden. Rarely felt like I didn't belong. In contrast, I've been in beautiful American homes, large, clean, perfectly decorated, where everything felt distant. Where warmth existed physically but not emotionally. Where guests were polite but temporary. Where the house felt more like a display than a living thing. This isn't a criticism. It's a reflection. American homes prioritize comfort, order, and independence. Filipino homes prioritize connection, flexibility, and togetherness. One isn't better than the other, but they feel very different. Another reason Filipino homes feel warmer is hospitality. It's not performative, it's instinctive. People don't host to impress, they host to care. You don't need to be special to be welcomed. You just need to be there. I've slept on floors, shared beds, borrowed towels, eaten from shared plates. None of it felt awkward. It felt natural. Like the home adjusted itself around me. In America, guests often adapt to the house. In Filipino homes, the house adapts to the guest. Even the way people talk inside their homes feels warmer. Conversations overlap. Stories stretch. Laughter interrupts seriousness. People speak with emotion, with hands, with faces. Even disagreements feel less cold. There's room for noise, for messiances, for humanity. I once asked a Filipino friend why their house always felt so comforting. She thought about it for a moment and said, "Because people matter more than things." That sentence explains everything. Filipino homes don't revolve around objects. Furniture moves. Rooms change purpose. Spaces adapt. What stays constant are the people. In American homes, we protect things. In Filipino homes, people protect each other. Over time, this warmth changed me. I became less guarded, less obsessed with schedules, less afraid of being a burden. I learned to accept food without apology. I learned to sit quietly with others without filling the silence. I learned that warmth isn't something you buy, it's something you practice. Now, when I return to American homes, I notice the difference more clearly. The closed doors, the quiet, the careful boundaries. And while I still appreciate the comfort and structure, I sometimes miss the chaos, the noise, the feeling of being expected rather than accommodated. Filipino homes taught me that warmth isn't about perfection. It's about presence. It's about openness. It's about choosing people over plans, connection over control. As a blonde American woman traveling through the Philippines, I came here expecting beautiful beaches, friendly smiles, and good food. I didn't expect to relearn what home meant, but I did. And now when someone asks me why Filipino homes feel warmer than American homes, I don't talk about architecture or climate. I talk about open doors, shared meals, loud laughter, quiet companionship. I talk about people who make space for you without asking you to earn it. Because in the Philippines, home isn't just where you live. It's where you are welcomed.